You're listening to DraftKings Network.
Welcome to another round of Drawing Board or Miro Board. Today we discuss technical diagramming with systems architect Maya. Let's go. First question. You've spent 10 hours slogging over a sequence diagram that should have taken 5. Drawing board or Miro board?
Drawing board. And if I'm being honest, Miro would probably cut that time down by half. You know, with its AI tools and ready-to-go templates.
Next, your diagrams become so bulky, it's more complex than the solar system. But all it takes is a few clicks and...
It's Miro. I've used those technical shape packs way too many times, and stuff is just digestible on its infinite online canvas.
Now, the final question. Everyone's brought in, but you have to make all these tasks all the way over in Jira. But wait, it's done. Is it...
Miro. Easy with its two-way Jira sync. Easy to plot dependencies. Everyone always knows what's up.
And she's done it.
Join over 60 million people creating technical diagrams without workflow glitches. Get your first 3 boards for free at Miro.com. That's Miro.com.
Hello, welcome to the Hockey Show. My name is Roy Bellamy. That's David Dwok of the Hockey News. The Florida Panthers are in the Stanley Cup Final. They are playing the Edmonton Oilers. We are going to talk about that matchup in a second.
Stanley Cup.
Stanley Cup.
All
right, but first we're going to recap Game 6. What is there to say? I mean, they practically dominated the entire game.
Yeah. You know what really impressed me about that was their third period, though. And we're going to go through the game.
Shut down city.
We're going to get there. But this is where the Panthers flex their muscles for what they've been doing all season, playing that tight gap defensive style that we've really grown to love. It was nice to see them do it against a team as good as the Rangers. And Stanley Cup.
Stanley Cup. I absolutely loved seeing Sam Bennett's healing process.
Yeah.
For him to take a slap one-timer like that.
Perfect shot.
After having a broken hand, basically. A perfect one-timer. And a play that was barely onside.
Yeah.
That was...
Your boy.
Yeah.
Your boy at the blue line.
I mean, that was a bit aggressive by Jacob Trouba trying to sweep that puck away. Oh, trying to get a check off. But that was pretty aggressive, and he got caught.
Well, especially knowing what we know now, that he had like half his ankle got chunked off during the season or whatever. Like that's
absolutely no way he was going to catch up to either E2 or Sam Bennett. Yeah. So I'm sorry, it was Evan Rodriguez for the assist. I mean, there was no way he was going to catch up with either one of them.
Well, he was a step behind much of the series, really. I mean, the physical play was all he could really lean on. The speed wasn't there. He's a big guy, very talented, but you could see he was struggling. Now we know why. It just made, as soon as I heard that, honestly, the first thing I thought of was back to the Panthers. They were so hurt last year. We found out after the playoffs were over what Bennett was going through, Ekblad, Montour. Now it's a different story. It's such a different feel, Roy. And you and I were there after Game 4 against Carolina last year. Yeah. We were walking around in the locker room outside. It was jubilation. You would have thought they just won the Stanley Cup. It was awesome.
Yeah.
And we were there after they beat the Rangers last week. Same situation. Going to the Stanley Cup.
It's all business.
Totally different. Night and day.
Well, the job's not done according to them. They got 4 wins left, at most 7 games to go.
Oh, man.
And it's going to be a good match, a very, very close matchup. But I want to go over the numbers here.
Yes. We got to recognize at least one thing from that series, and that's Igor Shesterkin.
It's the only reason why it wasn't a sweep.
Right? I mean, I don't want to say that it wasn't a sweep because the Rangers are a damn good team, but holy cow, did he keep them in a series. Like, he was unbelievable.
Yeah, he had a .930 save percentage, a .225 goals against average. On 5-on-5, a .945 save percentage, and a .173 goals against average. Now, despite how well, and I mean, they did do well on 5-on-5, the Panthers did, Igor Shesterkin stole 2 wins for the New York Rangers in that series.
Yeah, he's the playoff Vezina winner. He might win the Conn Smythe even though they don't even make the final. That's how. I mean, it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
He was so good. For me, it was great to watch because A, I got to watch this amazing playoff hockey goaltending, and B, the Panthers still won. So it was just win-win for me.
In comparison, Sergei Bobrovsky, a 938 save percentage and a 135 goals against average 5-on-5, and a 921 save percentage and 189 goals against average.
Lights out.
Yeah, he played. I mean, it was a goaltending battle the entire series.
Yeah.
But the fact that this went 6, all on the shoulders of Igor Shesterkin.
Yeah, I think that the big difference when you look at the statistics are very similar between the two, but we're talking about Shesterkin well before we're talking about Sergei Bobrovsky, and I think that's a testament to how well the Panthers played in front of Bobrovsky to limit a lot of the hard shots. Because while Bob's statistics were very similar to Shesterkin's, when you looked at the high danger chances and what Shesterkin had to do from shots coming from the house, oh man, he was unbelievable.
High danger chances, by the way, for the entire series, 94-58 in favor of the Panthers. And on 5-on-5, 77-40.
Oh, God.
It was a lot of traffic, a lot of chaos in front of the Rangers' crease.
Yep.
I can tell you that. And
buckle up, Stuart Stinner.
Yeah. As far as shots total are concerned, 5-on-5, the Panthers outshot with attempts by about 100. 100 shot attempts.
Oh, man.
It was 392 to 294.
Yeah. I mean, that's just what they do. They take the puck from you.
That's
they
5-on-5,
beat
by
you
the
down.
way.
Yeah, well, it's crazy, dude. Like what they're doing, a year and a half now into this. Oh man, that's just scary playoff hockey, and nobody can match up with it.
The real difference between the Rangers and the Oilers, I mean, the styles are pretty similar. Transition, power play. The Oilers are much better at that, but they also have Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl,
Yep.
Zach Hyman.
Yep. Oilers maybe a little bit more top-heavy than the Rangers just because, I mean, they both have very good stars, but when you're talking about McDavid, Draisaitl, and the kind of goal scoring that Hyman has been doing, I mean, they're, kind of in that upper echelon right now. And I'm excited for the final because basically we're seeing best on best. Like, Florida, nobody's defended the way Florida's defended. Nobody's been suffocating with the forechecking and the tight gaps like Florida. And then you've got Edmonton with maybe the most explosive offense, by far the best special teams in the playoffs. It's best on best, and that's all you could ask for when it comes to hockey.
Lineup changes from the Eastern Conference Final, or from what I counted. Florida had 10 lineup changes. That's pregame and in-game. The Rangers had 26. 26 lineup changes. That's a lot.
That's what you do when you're trying to come from behind.
Yeah. And it was pretty dire for them. It pretty much looked like. I mean, they were trying every line combination there was, and they couldn't get it done. Sam Bennett, 47 shot attempts, 18 hit the net, 9 high danger chances. He went 10 for 19 in the face-off circle. So, I think he's not fully healthy, obviously. What percentage would you give him? Like at least 65, 70?
No, I would say the way that he's winning faceoffs now and getting into those danger areas, like I'd say 75, 80. Like he looks like he's really comfortable, which I think is the key because that's what he said at first. Like it takes a little while to get your comfort level back. You don't know exactly what you're going to do with this injury. We will talk about the injury once the playoffs are over. I do have an idea of what happened. I'm not going to talk about it until we're done. That's how it works in the playoffs. But the fact that he's healed to the way he has now, where he's taking faceoffs, is you talked about that one-time shot that he had against Shesterkin in Game 6. That was a perfectly placed shot in the top corner. He looks like he's himself. And, I mean, if anybody personifies the style of hockey that Florida is asked to play in their forwards, it's Bennett and it's Tkachuk.
Yeah.
Balls to the walls, 100 miles per hour into the boards, no restraint, no holds barred. Let's go.
Cup final matchup. Let's talk about the special teams. The Oilers power play is elite.
I'm scared. I don't want to talk about their special teams.
Okay, how about the Panthers penalty killing then?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like Florida's PK, the second in playoffs? I got it right here, 88.2%.
Yeah.
So that sounds really good. And then you got the Oilers PK that's operating like 93%, I think it is, 93.9%, which is like, what?
Yeah, that's historically good.
They went 2 rounds of the 3 that they played to get here. 2 of those rounds, they didn't give up a power play goal. The Kings didn't get one, and the Canucks didn't get one.
Yeah.
That's a little nuts.
The Panthers power play is also very good. Not to the level of the Oilers, but they've gotten a lot of goals so far in the postseason.
Yeah, well, the Panthers power play, it hasn't, what's the word? It hasn't gotten the goals. It hasn't performed.
It hasn't gotten the regular season goals that they've gotten.
Well, they haven't gotten the results. That's what I'm looking for.
The results that
we
they had
saw in the regular season. But they're getting the chances, and they're starting to do a few different things. We're seeing them move Sam Reinhart around to a few different places now, trying to maybe open up those passing lanes and free him up for that shot that he got in, what was it, Game 4 against the Rangers overtime that turned that series back around for the Panthers. So special teams obviously going to play a huge part, and we've said that going into the last 3 series now. We said it going into the Tampa series because of Tampa's power play. We said it going into the Boston series because they were good both ways, and then the Rangers as well. And Florida has come out on top each time and done well against all those units.
And finally, let's talk about limiting the Oilers shots. That's going to be interesting. A lot of carrying into a lot of entries that the Oilers have are carries.
Yes. Well, that's where the Panthers' defense is going to be key, right? Because for Florida, where it starts with the forecheck and then they carry it into the neutral zone, that's where Edmonton gets their speed heading into the offensive zone, is with their zone exits. So it's going to be that combination of, is Florida's forecheck and neutral zone trapping ability going to limit Edmonton's ability to get into the zone, or is Florida's over-aggression going to cost them in the end, and is Edmonton going to turn that into odd man rushes, as we've seen with their rush game? It's really good.
Yeah. Let's talk about playoff beards now. I've been trying to grow a playoff beard since the playoffs started.
We said
to mix results.
Before game 1, we had this discussion. I said, are we doing this? Where are we starting from? And you said, whatever we got right now, let's go.
Yeah. Mine's just under the chin area here.
You've got some good areas, and then you've got areas that haven't paid their rent in a while.
No, I think they're getting evicted. And, of course, yours is growing out well.
Mine is aging on me, though. Like, I feel like I've got like a 60-year-old beard coming in. There's a lot of gray hairs, and I don't know. I'm having a hard time controlling this part, the chin part, because like food and drinks get in there, and you don't feel it. So you can like walk around with like your toothpaste or whatever there all day.
Flavor saver.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. But, I'm married, so I don't know what that means.
Yeah, okay. Well, the Panthers have playoff beards, and we're going to go through some of them. Let's go to this is Aaron Ekblad here.
That's a great playoff beard, Aaron Ekblad. That looks like he's been growing it since January.
Yeah, he's been waiting for this moment all his life, apparently.
Yeah, that's a good one. And here's a Roy playoff beard.
Oh yeah, that's definitely.
Yeah, I think Carter Verhaeghe actually said it on your show yesterday on the Batard show that the Finnish guys have a hard time. Maybe you're part Finnish. Maybe that's what it is.
Anton Lundell's. Doesn't even look like he's.
There's
trying.
An effort there. I mean, it's like the chin line, the jaw line. There's some hair there, but the cheeks, nothing.
Oh, boy.
It's a desert wasteland. Okay, there we go. Brandon Montour.
Yeah, Brandon Montour.
Good jawline. Yeah. Good mustache. The cheeks are a little...
It looks like a fade.
Yeah, okay. Looks like a fade beard. Yeah, but it's like a good one.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. That's what I'm working with. That's just like, I'm just going to let it grow, and whatever happens, happens.
So Carter Verhaeghe was on yesterday's show, as David said. He's definitely got his growing in, and it looks pretty scruffy.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's like a good Finnish beard.
Eetu Luostarinen is looking the other way.
Strong chin game.
You see his profile.
Yeah, strong chin beard.
Yeah. Got a little bit of shadow there.
Oh, then there's...
Matthew Tkachuk. He's been growing his since 3 years ago.
It's a little... it's very bikerish, right? Or is it more biker or more pirate?
Yeah, this is Sons of Anarchy situation here.
It's not bad.
Yeah. And the Sam Reinhart.
That's definitely Sons of Anarchy.
He's definitely...
Nazareth.
All right.
Feel about 10:30.
We are going to Media Day. We are going to interview George Richards of Florida Hockey Now, and we're going to do some stuff out there. It should be fun. We'll be right back.
Should be fun.
All right, we are here at Media Day. Joining David and I is George Richards of Florida Hockey Now. As we said, the Florida Panthers are in the Stanley Cup Final. They are playing the Edmonton Oilers. Now, George, you are the longest-serving media member here. I mean, because you're old.
You're saying I'm old.
I just said that 2 seconds ago. So
I wanted to beat you to the punch.
Yeah.
Because you're used to ragging on Greg Cote. I figured I'd get one in.
Yeah. Well,
first.
Yeah, that's a good point, because I was going to do that. Now I don't have to anymore. So, in 30 years, you've seen this franchise grow and grow. 30 years.
It's the number on the ice down there.
Yeah, that's the anniversary. You can't see it because the camera can't.
So about 30 years.
About 30 years, you've seen this franchise grow and pretty much regress. And I mean regress. How do you see this season in comparison to the previous 29?
Well, I mean, You know, it's like
way to set him up for a tough one,
yeah,
Roy.
I'm taking you to Macy's or the
Zayres?
bargain lot. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to go to Zayres again. I like Zayres.
Zayres, yes.
Zayres was good. I went to the one on 7th Avenue. It was good.
The one in Hollywood.
I mean, come on, you can't compare this season to really any other. Maybe 22. When the Panthers won the President's Trophy. Last year it was an up and down regular season, and then they ended up, giving us a ride that really nobody expected. I mean, they were one goal away from being beaten by Boston in 5 games. So we didn't expect last year. This year, they were strong pretty much throughout the season. There were times where you're like, okay, Boston's going to win the Atlantic, but Florida was always pretty much going to be the number 2 seed out of the Atlantic. That's a great regular season. There haven't been too many of those. What is this, the fourth division championship for the Panthers? Yeah. So, I mean, this has been a great season already. And I think even if they lost to the New York Rangers, I think you have to say that's a pretty – you went deep into the playoffs. You lost in the Eastern Conference Finals. That's still a successful season. Now, the New York Rangers right now are feeling the pain of not advancing and not being here. But they still had a great year. That was a great year for the New York Rangers, but somebody had to lose, and, here the Panthers are. Great season. It would have been a great season last week. But
Now, let me stop you from your ESPN audition there for a second. And I do want to ask you, there's a lot of Rangers love, Georgie.
Yeah. Oh, I got you. I thought
you Mark Messier?
Oh, you're saying that's quality entertainment.
You Steve Levy?
Always.
Love the Rangers, by the way. Love them.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of the Rangers, we were all here last year when Florida beat Carolina in Game 4, and what that was like. It was insane. It kind of felt like they had just won the Stanley Cup. The way that everybody was celebrating. And
it was.
Fast forward a year, we beat the Rangers, completely different feel when we got downstairs. It felt maybe like any other game, I don't know, but it certainly did not feel like they had just won an Eastern Conference championship. So just from your perspective, George, can you speak to the difference year over year from last year's team and what they accomplished to what this team has done and what they're trying to accomplish?
Listen, there was nothing wrong with the way the Florida Panthers celebrated last year.
Oh, no. Definitely not.
Matthew Tkachuk grabbing the Prince of Wales trophy. Good on him. But, the old saying is act like you've been there before. Florida Panthers have been there before, and they acted like it when they beat the New York Rangers. The Panthers are all business-like. They're all business right now. That's a cliche, but it's true. A lot of cliches are true. Mm-hmm. And this one is. The Panthers are focused. I mean, I did a story, good plug here, at FloridaHockeyNow.com on the pain.
I did that already.
I know, but I'm doing it now. FloridaHockeyNow.com did a great story that I wrote on the Panthers, the pain of it, right? That picture from AP of all of them watching 50 feet away, whatever it was, the Vegas Golden Knights celebrating with that cup. It's seared into their memory. They've been bothered by it all year long. They're still talking about it. I mean, and you got the Edmonton Oilers coach saying, ask the Buffalo Bills about experience. Listen, experience counts. And the Florida Panthers got it. The Edmonton Oilers don't know the pain of what is coming. The Florida Panthers do.
The New York Rangers had a similar style to the Edmonton Oilers. The Oilers just happen to have two of the best players in the world, and Zach Hyman, they got Evan Bouchard. What would you say that the Panthers learned from the Eastern Conference Final that they can bring with them to the Stanley Cup Final?
I don't know. I think it is a different opponent. It's different talent. The top 6 of the Edmonton Oilers, we can all agree, is the best in hockey. This is going to be a brand new challenge for the Panthers. The Edmonton Oilers really haven't seen a team play the way the Panthers have, and the Panthers really haven't seen a team like Edmonton. So this is just a great, great series. It's going to be interesting to see how Florida stops those guys. I mean, that top 6 for Edmonton is unbelievable. But as we've talked about, not on this show. What show is this?
The Hockey Show.
What channel?
This is the Dan Liz Levitard Friends Network.
Oh, Dan Levitard. I know him.
YouTube, different
Dan
places.
Levitard Show.
I think you're also on YouTube.
I think I am on YouTube. Anyway, the Florida Panthers, you looked at when coming into the playoffs, the Tampa Bay Lightning. Well, you've got to watch this. Florida shut them all down. All the big guys, except for Steven Stamkos on the power play. Florida shut down the Tampa Bay Lightning and their big guns. Kucherov, nothing. Round 2, Boston, shut them all down. Nothing by their big guys. New York Rangers, nothing by their big guys. Panarin got 1 goal, and it was in game 6?
The last
on a 6-on-4 or whatever, 6-on-5?
Yep.
Florida has done a great job of shutting down the best players. And, this is a different animal. The Edmonton Oilers are a different animal than what the New York Rangers were throwing out there with Zibanejad and whatever. Different animal with McJesus and all that.
Oh, yeah.
But, hey, Florida defensively with that top line, all their forward lines play strong defense. They've got six terrific defensemen. They've been through this. They'll try and limit them and do what they can.
So kind of on that note, George, we've talked, I feel like going into every series, we've talked about special teams and how Florida's going to have to shut down a great power play, whether it was Tampa and Stamkos, Boston with Marchand, or what we saw with the Rangers and those guys. And Florida has met the challenge every time. Now it's going to be a bit different against the Oilers, but is there any reason to think that this team that's met every challenge that they've been presented and that's focused so much on the PK since the offseason when they brought in Kevin Stenlund and Nico Mikkola and all these guys that have helped out, are they going to have the same kind of success against Edmonton, do you think?
Hard to say. I mean, but yeah, you've got to figure that Edmonton's success rate is not going to continue. They're at 35%.
Yeah.
That's going to eventually start coming down. That'd be good for the Panthers if it does, because if Florida gives up, what they did against the Rangers, statistics tell us that's 5-6 goals for Edmonton. It's not just their power play; it's their penalty kill as well. I think they've stopped 28 straight power plays. Edmonton has. So this is a great special teams battle. Both teams. Florida's penalty kill is great. Edmonton's might be better. Florida's power play's been okay. We know what Edmonton's got. So, yeah, listen, Florida's had a whole week to figure this thing out. They'll be prepared. It's not a shock to them that Edmonton's got a pretty potent power play.
Right.
Potable.
Greg Cote of the Miami Herald said that, I'm sure you've seen this
So
already.
now he's Greg Cote of the Miami Herald?
As soon as you ask him, George is locked. He's like, leans in. He's ready to go.
He's ready to go. So I got to explain this to
What
everybody.
your son did? Did you see what your son did? Now it's your son.
Yeah, exactly. It's your son.
He's my Greg Cote?
He's your Greg Cote.
Miami Herald.
I got to explain this to everybody again. He said in his article that despite the three times that he's won the Hart Trophy, despite all the Art Ross trophies, despite last year leading the league in goals, that Connor McDavid is overrated. In fact, he called him McOverrated.
Okay.
And just a couple of days ago, he said that he was an underachiever, all because he hasn't won a Stanley Cup in the 9 years.
Greg Cote wrote that because he knew that he'd get 3 million hits from Canada when he wrote it. Greg Cote, seriously, Greg, have you ever seen Connor McDavid play a hockey game? Greg, have you ever?
Greg.
No, the answer is no. Greg has never seen Connor McDavid ever play a game. He hasn't. Maybe he tuned in for 1 second to watch the end of the Western Conference Final to see who the Panthers would play. That might be it. I mean, seriously.
Even on Hockey
Greg,
Reference,
we love you.
stats.
We all love Greg, but we know why he wrote that.
He seems to be enjoying how it's played out. Did exactly what he wanted.
How many millions of hits did he get just from angry Canadians? He knew what he was doing. He might as well have written Tim Hortons.
Sucks.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
He wouldn't. All that went on
And
TSN.
that's next. Greg, you're welcome.
Tim Bitts, he's going to argue about Tim Bitts being
I'll push back more on Tim Hortons than I will on McDavid. You do not disparage Tim Hortons.
He was
So
on
anyway,
TSN.
Come on. Connor McDavid is not overrated, and Greg Cote knows that.
But
we kid because we love.
he said yesterday that he had 8 to 9 minutes per game. He played 8 to 9 minutes per game.
You're surprised Greg Cote's keeping the bit going?
He's flexing.
God.
Seriously, I mean, nobody else is telling. I mean, there are a bunch of people in Canada that don't know who Greg Cote is and are like,
they do
this
now.
guy, what's going on? We all love Greg, but he's never seen Connor McDavid play. Not a shift. I would bet a shift. Not a shift.
So, George, before we wrap this up here, we get down to Media Day that's going to take place right behind us in a second. Other than Connor McDavid, what are you most excited about for the Stanley Cup Final?
The media meal has usually been
so am I.
It's been pretty good.
It's nice.
Yeah. Pretty good. I mean, excuse me. It's exciting. This is an exciting time. We've talked about it. Dan's buddy, I was talking to Edwin Pope, and I always recall this about 15 years ago, doing something on the 71 Dolphins and talking to Edwin. I'm like, did you realize at the time You know, you were covering hit, and Edwin's like, of course not. You don't realize the good times when you're in the middle of them. Yeah. You know, those were the greatest times in Dolphin history, and Edwin Polk treated it like it was a Thursday, because it was. You know what I mean? It was just another Sunday, and they were playing Baltimore and whatever. And it was that's what we've got here with the Florida Panthers. It's not going to get better than this, and if it does, good for everybody. Right? But the good times are here, folks. This is what your grandkids are going. Remember back in 24 when the Panthers? Yeah, I remember.
Yep.
I remember.
Shoveling snow.
Yeah. So So remember when hockey was a thing in South Florida? So enjoy this. This is great. It's the Stanley Cup Final. We've got Canadian media all over this place. It's going to be a little bit much.
Yeah.
But it's still neat.
It's the final.
Yeah, and it's the final, and it's here for the second straight year. And after all the bad hockey that we've seen over the years,
the Mike Keenan years,
building from right here, I mean, my goodness, this is the fun stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. All right. Stanley Cup Final starts tomorrow. Florida Panthers in Edmonton Oilers. That's George Richards of Florida Hockey Now. Thank you for joining us, George.
Well, Roy, thank you for having me. And David?